Hey guys, G Berry Terri here. Ooh, I'm a mess. This is my Saturday prep day to do whatever juice recipes, salad recipes, kale chip recipes that I'm going to do for my week for traveling and for sharing with my friends, patients, slash clients, slash minions, slash helpers, slash everyone. Anyway, I have two different things going on here. Actually, three. Remember the cheese? Okay, here's the cheese dip. We're getting ready to, I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Now I'm going to put some of this aside over here so we can clean out the vase with it. What I've done is I've taken, this is the two different kinds of kale. I cleaned off the leaves off the stems. And I save the stems because I juice the stems, absolutely. Lots of nutrients in that. Definitely going to juice those in the morning with some of my other stuff. My carrots maybe. I have like a green carrot juice with some apple maybe. And that'll be really nutrient thick and loaded. Okay, so we have the dino kale and the curly kale both in this bowl. Then we have the spinach and the bok choy over here. Now, I've marinated, see it's kind of shiny. I took the kale and I squeezed a bunch of lemons ahead of time in my lemon juicer, citrus juicer. And I take the, see these, can you see? Let me move this closer and down just a little. There we go, better. Okay, so, yeah, it's a little crazy. How about right there? Anyway, this is the hemp oil. I use hemp oil. They have a light colored one, the company I buy this from, and they have a dark greener one. You can see the greener one's almost gone. I like the greener one because it's a little bit nuttier flavor, but you can use olive oil or flax oil, whatever your preferred oil is. And I take and use some Himalayan table or cooking salt, and I sprinkle that over it, along with the lemon juice, and massage that in. It kind of softens the kale leaves because a lot of people's thing with kale, and mine was too, I wasn't a big fan of it because it's so daggum chewy and tough. So this kind of softens it up and kind of marinates it, and I kind of let that sit for a while. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, part of this is going to be kale chips, and part of it's going to be kale salad. And with the nut cheese. Okay, remember the creamy nacho sweet and spicy cheese? Well, that's what we're going to use on this one. Now, I also make a ranch one. You can do whatever, onion, garlic, dill, whatever you want to do. So we're going to take, because I'm going to juice some of this bok choy and spinach in the morning with those stems and some carrots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this, put it over here in this bowl, this pink bowl. This is an antique bowl. I love this bowl. It was my grandmother's. I've had it forever. My great-grandmother's, I think, originally. And, man, this thing is sturdy, and it's got pour ends. It's got a big one and a skinny one on this side, so I love that thing. So now I'm going to take bok choy and spinach. You don't need to massage the spinach because it's a very thin leaf. You always want to buy organic in your greens, definitely, or grow your own. But citrus, you don't have to necessarily do organic because the roots run really deep in the trees. And typically, no one sprays citrus because that's where they get the bug spray from, is the citrus oil. So think about it. The insects really don't bother the citrus trees. So that's one of the reasons why I'll buy the Texas grapefruits and oranges, which are yummy in season right now, because, and they're not going to organic them, but they are not necessarily in need of being organic. So there you go. But anyway, we're going to take some of the kale, mix it in with the bok choy and the spinach that's been marinating. And some of it we're going to leave because we're going to do a couple different things. I'm going to get a little bit more of that spinach and bok choy. Okay, and we're going to set that aside. I'm setting that aside. Yep, there you go. Because in the morning, I'm going to take these stems, and I'm going to take some of that, not the marinated stuff, but some of the bok choy and spinach, and I'm going to juice it with some carrots and maybe some apple. All right, so here's our creamy nut cheese spicy dip. We're going to take and blob some of it in there. Now, you can do one of two things if you want. You can, and I like to blob quite a bit because we made quite a bit. 3 cups. I mean, you know, a cup of cashews. I had a few macadamias in there, but not many. I just used what I had left. And a cup of pumpkin seeds and a cup of, now I didn't soak the sunflower seeds. I left those intact, but I did soak the other ones pretty well. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the Himalaya salts to this, and I just kind of shake it in there. Now this one is the Himalaya chicken flavored. It's vegan and it's organic. It's kind of got a chicken flavor to it, even though there's no chicken whatsoever. I just kind of sprinkled some of that in there, and then some more of the Himalaya chili salt. It's organic and vegan. They're all vegan and they're all organic. Okay, now you can use your hands, or you can get a big wooden spoon or two and kind of massage it in there, or coat it in there, however you want to do it. Now this is going to be our salad. Remember, we're making a spinach, kale, bok choy salad. Now that's okay, that's cool, but I prefer to use my hands. I can just get in there and massage it a lot better and get that nut cheese all mixed in real good. Now this is yummy, yummy, yummy. My daughter loves this. In fact, I haven't taken it to my oldest daughter yet, but I'm sure she would too. But my youngest, Sarah, Superfood Sarah, and I've got sugar beet Shelby, Superfood Sarah, and sugar beet Shelby. Shelby's my oldest. She just got her master's in education technology. I'm so proud of her. And Sarah's doing very well too. She has my first grandson, Maverick, that's 4 years old. Anyway, see how that looks? Now it's all mixed in there, really nice and thick. And oh my gosh, we have to taste it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nice. Now that's the spicy one. If you like garlic, onion, you can kind of play with nuts too. You can use cashews or macadamias. They're the creamier nuts. Sometimes I'll use pumpkin, sometimes I'll use sunflower, just whatever I have on hand. Sometimes I'll mix them up, mix them together like I did today. Okay, so that's your nut cheese. Now, what I do is I take and put that in a covered glass bowl. Oh my, what did I do with my hand towel? I think I used them all for, oh. One of the things I do, when you saw that I was koshering my greens, I soak them in sea salt to, and this is a reused jar. I buy big, huge things of sea salt online because I go through so much of it. But I will take and hand dry them, or I have a mat that I lay them out on with cotton towels, and dry the leaves off real well before I marinate or before I use for salads. Now once I get this cheese dip all used up, because now I'm going to put it on these kale chips, for kale chips. I'm going to blob a bunch of it in there and kind of do the same thing I did with the salad. And you want to get it nice and coated. And it looks like I'm going to have quite a bit. So I'm going to save a little bit more for my veggie dip bowl. This is my little veggie dip bowl. Remember earlier we put it in here? Well, I'm going to put some more in here because this is a huge recipe. Now I like them really good and coated, the kale chips. However, that's a bit too much coated. So I'm dipping this out of here into my veggie dip bowl. And I may make some more kale chips, but that way I have an option. I'll put some more over here in the kale chips. And you want to just get it real cleaned out. I use my hands. You can use the spatula. It just works better for me. Now when I'm soaking my leafy greens, I don't use tap water at all. You don't want the chlorine and the formaldehyde and all the chemicals unless you filter your water. I have well water. I still filter it. That's one of the reasons I moved way out into the country. I'm southeast about 80 miles of Dallas with the cows and the cotton. And I love it. It's quiet. We don't even have to have emissions because there's not very many cars. We've got one gas station. I do have to make sure I go to Whole Foods or Natural Grocers or Ann's or Sprouts and get my organic stuff before I head home because there aren't any near me. The closest organics is about 21 miles into Waco to HEB. But anyway, so now I've got this. This is my nut cheese for dipping my veggies. Here's my veggies. Got celery, squash, carrots. So I can dip that in there and eat that for snacks. A lot healthier than French fries at McDonald's or onion rings at Sonic like I used to do many, many moons and years ago. So now I have the kale. Now this is going to be the kale salad. I mean the kale chips. And so I'm going to mix that all in really well. I'm just going to use my hands again. I'm going to set aside the kale with bok choy and spinach salad. Now that salad over there, that's the base. You can also add some carrots and onions and celery. All this stuff that I've got over here for dipping, you can also chunk it up and put in your salad, your kale. Or you can just eat it by itself. Either way, it's really yummy. Okay, now you see this is what the kale chips look like before I dehydrate them. And what I'm going to do, these are sweet and spicy kale chips now. And I'll put these on the dehydrator and I'll do one more video showing kale chips coming out of the dehydrator. How about that's what we title it. And I'll show you because I'm going to go ahead and show you once I get them all on the dehydrator. Now with kale chips and my little pulp treats that I did from juicing this morning, I usually run them on no higher than 105. You don't want to cook them, you just want to pull the moisture out. Because if you cook it over 105 degrees, you kill all the nutrients and the enzymes that you're trying to get from dehydrating instead of frying and baking. Alright, so that's what our kale chips look like. Now that's going to go on the dehydrator. So we've got the kale salad, kale spinach bok choy salad. And you don't need to marinate these because the leaves are real thin with the spinach and the bok choy. But you do with the other. Now why did I save these over here? Well, I throw them into the pitcher because there's still a lot of nut cheese in there. And I clean out the pitcher with this little pile of kale that I was saving up. So that I use every bit and get every bit out of the pitcher. And it kind of cleans, see how it's kind of clean in the pitcher. So you want to kind of swipe it in there real good. Be careful of the blade though, it's very sharp. And you want to make sure, first time I did this, I kind of cut myself, so you have to be very, very careful. Now see, that kind of cleans out the pitcher. So you don't have any of it getting lost in the background. So anyway, see, cleans it out. So now all I have to do is sit it in the sink and run it in some hot water and rinse it out. Okay, very easy cleanup that way. Now you've got your veggie dip. I've got these left over. I'm going to throw the stems in here. See how I even saved the ties to save the stems with. Well, I can take the ties off now, but I think I'll just leave them on for the time being. Might take that one off. And just set them in that bowl, put that in the fridge, and that's for juicing with my carrots and apples in the morning so I get my greens. Okay, so now we've gotten the veggie dip. Now, let's talk about one more thing. The veggie dip can be thinned out with some water and made into a dressing. Or you can do it like this and have a thicker dressing, however you choose. You could add the dressing later if you wanted to do your greens later. You have plenty of nut cheese left for dipping or making salad dressing, a spicy salad dressing. Okay, that's it for today, folks. That's all, as Bug Bunnies would say. Go G Berry. Namaste. Satnam. Peace. Go G Berry out.